Welcome to the Business Women Australia podcast show, the podcast that brings together industry leaders to discuss the latest trends, insights, and strategies. So sit back and relax. Let's get inspired by the amazing women who are shaping the future of professional women in Australia. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And welcome, everyone. What an absolutely necessary and beautiful topic we have today about nurturing our mental health for success. And my guest today is a dedicated clinical psychologist with a profound commitment to fostering mental well-being and resilience amongst women. With an extensive background in psychology and a passion for accessible mental health care, she founded Pynk Health, which is a telehealth psychology practice tailored for women. So welcome, Julie Fox.
Thank you so much, Leanne. It's so lovely to be here. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to chat about what we do.
Yeah, and we've just had a really lovely chat on the importance of, having accessible mental health to women. It's I've been reading through your notes and realizing that what was one of the notes? 1 in 5 people have mental or behavioral conditions, and it's not talked about.
It's really not, and the stats are really well, there's evidence to say that they're underreported, so that, not everybody likes to disclose that maybe they've got or have had a mental health disorder. So therefore, probably we don't get a really good picture. But the information we do have indicates that at least 1 in 5 women will experience a mental health disorder at some point in their life. Usually falls into either anxiety or depression, but they are definitely more likely to. So even if you think about some of your family, just 4 other women out of the 5 of you, 1 of you has at least had that experience at some point in their life, if not currently.
And I was saying, even a few days ago, admitting that I had massive bout of anxiety, and to be able to, I'm always very quite open and honest about it, because we're saying, we take it not just for ourselves, we take it into our kids and our families. So to be able to talk about it released, for me at least, so much of that. And to think that people hide and try to conceal it so that, they're stronger or they're tougher or whichever, way they need to present, it's actually a little bit heartbreaking. So I do really appreciate you taking the time to, bring light to it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It is. I agree. It's hard. And that was one of the things, we were chatting about before we started, is that so many people that we see say to us, I just thought this is what happened. I didn't realize this was anxiety, or I didn't realize that this was, a mood disorder. I just thought it was me, which is awful, because that then just feeds into, a terrible feeling about yourself, that there's something wrong with you or something going on. And even more so, you're less likely to talk about it. So it's scary.
Yeah, and I remember even growing up, people used to go, we couldn't have emotions because it must have been on our period.
Yep.
And taking away that stigma and realizing, well, no, there's 28 days in a month. We're allowed a variety of emotions across that whole month.
Absolutely. And really, I think from the minute that, kids start school, and even before, being able to talk about it and normalise it is really, really important if we're ever going to get some shift around that stigma around, oh no, he's got anxiety or she's got anxiety. And particularly in the workplace, I think that can have such a huge impact on success and career development. It's incredible.
Yeah. And what I want to know a little bit more about you and your journey as well with this. So can you tell me about your journey into becoming a clinical psychologist, and what inspired you to establish Pynk Health, specifically targeting women and their mental health needs?
Absolutely. So this is my favourite topic, so you might have to stop me at some point. But
I've strapped in for the answer.
Yeah, good. Okay. I actually started studying at university teaching, and after the first year of teaching, I was exhausted at lunchtime when I was doing the pracs, and I just thought, I don't know how these people do it. It is such a hard job. It gave me a huge respect for teachers, that's for sure. But I just thought, just one kid at a time, I can't do 25 to 30. So that then led to looking into other courses and went down the psychology path. My very first job was really at the pointy end, working in substance use. And what I didn't know at that time, being very naive and young psychologist, was that also means significant and complex mental health disorders go along typically with substance use disorders. So down that path, one of the things that I noticed very early on was that working as a single clinician, we're only working with one person at a time, maybe with a maximum of 30 to 50 in 1 year. How do we actually build so that we can do more for more people, because there are so many people in need? And I guess that was one of the experiences I had. So from there, throughout my career, I've worked in various places. I had a great opportunity to work with Professor Tony Atwood and Dr. Michelle Garnett, who are very well known in autism, and trained with them for a couple of years. Working there, that's where we started to recognise, I guess, with females that the presentation, particularly with neurodivergence, is quite different. So that kind of spiked my interest then, I guess, in terms of working with women. But roll forward a bit, and I'd worked in various management positions, and life happened. So I had my own personal experiences, but workplace experiences too that weren't great. And while a lot of the time, it's purported that there is support for women, whether that's, support through management, through an EAP, or there didn't seem to be a lot of substance. There wasn't a lot behind it. So at the beginning of 2020, I decided to really focus on private practice, and that was just prior to COVID occurring. So in a way, it was a little bit of luck in that, along with COVID, allowed us to start doing telehealth services. I chose to work with women primarily because women do engage well. They understand the process usually or typically, and they also know it's not a quick fix. They commit to it, they understand what's involved, and are more likely to work through or work toward whatever goal they've established. And that is so satisfying. It's really, really satisfying. Mm-hmm. So it was just a simple conversation with a girlfriend one afternoon when I thought, I think I'm just going to work with women. And the idea just got legs, and people really enjoyed it, liked the idea. Clients loved it, that the service was just for women, by women. And psychologists did too. So, right at the beginning, it was really easy to sort of be able to attract some really great quality psychologists to provide the services. And we were just swamped and overwhelmed with the number of clients that were coming our way. And it really got very exciting from there over the last couple of years in what we can actually do and what it's led to, which is sort of gets me up out of bed every day and working towards that. But that's my very shortened version, because I could go on about it for ages.
And, and working with women, obviously ideal place, with Business Women Australia, because we have seen, especially so many women in business who they've got very full lives. They run a business, or, they're in quite a high executive position. They've got the family, usually they volunteer as well.
Yeah.
So capacity gets reached, and to understand that, there is space to work through that is so important.
Yeah.
And COVID would have brought out the biggest of that.
It did. In some ways, as difficult as COVID was for so many people, so many businesses, it did start conversations around mental health. So people were more accepting. They started to understand the impact of what was happening on people, particularly in other states. I'm very fortunate to be in Queensland. We really didn't experience what a lot of the other southern states did, and including WA, of course, but really started to understand that the impact of isolation and what this was doing to people was far more widespread than what I think people had potentially imagined. So that really did help in terms of being able to have that conversation. I think we've lost a bit of that momentum since then, but it certainly did open the door. It did start creating more conversations about mental health.
And what have you found have been your biggest challenges while building Pynk Health?
Probably not too dissimilar from other business owners. It's the first couple of years were really exciting. They built really quickly. It was like a really small boutique organisation where everybody was close and, working toward the same thing. And unfortunately, with growth, as exciting as that is, there comes, growing pains. And so probably one of my biggest lessons early on was around marketing, actually. That was a really huge challenge in terms of really not understanding what marketing was and how it worked. And that was a huge cost, both emotionally and financially, to the business. But, we overcame that. And I did that by just asking lots and lots of people, driving people crazy, probably asking for information, asking for help, reading. I was trying to read and get my head around Google Ads and how it works and the algorithms. And I really am so impressed by anyone that works in that area, because I just find it mind-boggling. But I had to keep asking. Unfortunately, that's overcome now with some great support in place. And then I guess the other challenge is probably, again, not dissimilar to anyone else. It's always people. It's always ensuring that having the right people on the bus. And sometimes you think you have got them on the right people on the bus, but they're not necessarily so. And so to overcome that, we spend a lot of time now really talking and getting to know people before we invite them to join the team, to ensure that their values and vision is aligned with ours. And it's okay if it's not. That's totally okay. But it's really important for us in terms of where we're going, that people feel the same as we do. Unfortunately, probably like all of us, we've all had difficult experiences in workplaces, and I don't want to replicate that for anybody. I want everybody that works with us to come to work going, I love this job. I really love this job. This is the job that I want. And I try and offer that as best I can.
And we're seeing that a lot of that mentality now is people can have the qualifications, which are great, but if their values aren't aligned, then
Absolutely.
the workplaces it doesn't flow on, to your clients well.
Yeah.
So when you've got that and the values align, that's where you start getting your dream team.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And that's coming so well together for us now. It's actually really exciting. We've just recently gone through refining our values and the vision, and it was a really, really exciting and heartwarming sort of experience to go through it. We're all located in different areas. None of us are together. Nobody works in an office together, but we rely on technology to communicate, and it's really exciting, talking to each other about the different things that we can do. So that's been a great experience.
And what about us? Is there any particular success story that stands out to you?
I think the success is definitely the clients. That sounds a bit corny, doesn't it? But it definitely is. Like it's and again, probably like most businesses, our clients that are successful don't necessarily talk about it, because it is something. There's still a lot of stigma around mental health, and whether a lot of our clients aren't necessarily seeking help because they have mental health difficulties. They just are having a hard time or navigating relationships and seeking that support. But it's amazing to have clients that you have the opportunity to walk alongside them for a period of time and watch them go from, getting out of bed each day, a major task, to, achieving the most amazing things and enjoying life again. So I think that's got to be our success story. The more that we share those with each other in terms of, the clinicians talking about our clients, it reminds us, okay, this is what we're here to do, even though sometimes it's hard, or a lot of times it's hard. This is what we're here to do, and this is the reason we're doing what we do.
And given that with women, and they've got this unique mental health challenges that they face today, how do you guys help women, as an organisation?
Yeah, this is so important to me. It's equally as important to the team as well. So I think our point of difference is that we are all women and we're all working to support women. And for just about any presentation that a client might come to the service for, some of us, one of us, all of us have probably experienced it at some point in our lives, whether it's to do with parenting, with employment, relationships, trauma, anxiety. We've all, if not experienced it, someone has on the team. So we can relate to that sort of, rather than telling you this is what's going on for you and this is what you need to do. We try to provide that experience where clients go, oh, they get me. They understand exactly how I feel. They, that it resonates with them, that what we're doing is because we get it and we've either experienced it or we understand it well enough that we know what's going on. And then once we understand what it is that people are looking for, we work towards their goals. So it's very easy to fall into that sort of, okay, well, this is what's happening. So this is a treatment prescribed for you in this situation. That's not how we work. If it's all about what your goal is. So if it's someone who has a significant drinking problem and they want to reduce it by however much, we support that. It's about what the person wants and what their goals are. There might be some gentle challenging along the way, but it's about helping people get to where they want to be is really important. So everything we do has to fit in with the client, and that's why we've really focused also on providing just telehealth services. As a lot of people say, oh, will you, or they used to say, will you go back to providing face-to-face? No, because I know myself, I'm my kids are older now, but when they were younger, trying to get to an appointment, have to take time off work, manage whatever else is going on in my life, you just can't do it. And so I just wouldn't go. And I know just about every other woman does the same. They don't prioritise themselves.
And to be honest, I would be that woman too, because there's enough appointments that I have to take my kids to. There's a lot of business appointments, and so if it came to myself and I had to leave my desk, I would put it off until I had holidays.
Yep, that's exactly what people do.
And by the time it came to the holidays, I'd probably forget.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what people do. And so we try to overcome those barriers. That's why we learning as much as we can about technology. We're looking at how we can integrate AI into our services at the moment to support clients when we're not physically there. Because if it's not easy and accessible, you won't do it. So really overcoming those barriers is important for us. It's a priority.
And going through the notes that you've given me, it blows me away, because there's things in here, obviously, I don't have to think about, and I'm very quite privileged not to have to think about that. But we talk about the suicide rate, and men do have a higher suicide rate in Australia. However, the number of women experiencing suicidal thoughts actually is quite alarmingly high.
It's horrible.
And, these things that, to have that telehealth, because sometimes when you've got these thoughts, it's actually hard to leave the house.
That's right. And that's how a lot of our clients, end up using telehealth services, because they simply can't leave the house for whatever reason. They whether it's because they physically are unable to, or they don't have transport, or they're just not well enough to. Telehealth is a great solution to be able to overcome that. But I agree. The stats are terrible. They're just awful. And even domestic violence stats, it's reminding our clinicians, don't forget to ask about it. Don't forget to ask about it, because it's still, even though, we seem to be aware of it, it's alarming how many times we miss cues or signs. And again, because women feel they're causing, problems, or they're making a fuss and don't speak out. So it's really important that we keep asking.
And, especially domestic violence. I remember when I had my children, it was something that the health nurse was really onto at the time. But outside of that, I'm lucky that I have a really good GP, and she's, I do notice that she asks a lot of questions to make sure that I am, physically okay, I'm mentally okay, my home life is good. But essentially, there's a lot of times where people are getting missed because they don't always have someone to ask those questions. I've been asked because I have children.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if I was in a space where I chose not to have children as well?
That's right.
It's still just as important.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
And unfortunately, we find that, those same old opinions still persist around, oh, but she's not being physically beaten up. So it's not that bad, is it?
Mm.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's quite scary.
Yeah. And so as we're getting ready just to wrap it up soon, but I want to know what's your future aspirations for Pynk Health, and do you plan to expand or evolve your services?
Absolutely. So at the moment, we're exploring opportunities to provide our services to Aussie expats in the UAE and also in the UK. So that's something that we've started looking into and hoping to be able to start within the next couple of months. We have a few already, but expanding on those services. But our biggest goal, and this is our team goal at the moment, and absolutely my vision, and working very hard to get there, we would love to be able to create an arm of the business where we could provide the same quality services to women for no cost, because it just breaks I've got an amazing admin team, and it breaks their hearts every day. They're turning people away because they just can't afford it. And they're in desperate need. They're, dire circumstances, but they just simply can't afford services at all. And any of the services that are for free, typically they're difficult to get into. They're inconsistent. So that's the big goal, and I'm hopeful that we'll achieve that within 12 to 18 months, where we can actually have that arm to be able to, particularly women who may be, in domestic violence situations, or just simply can't afford it but desperately need it because it's stopping them, from creating an income for themselves or whatever it is. Yeah. So that's the vision. But yeah, we're continuing to grow at this stage. That's the plan, absolutely.
Oh, I love that plan so much because, especially as someone who works in the community, I see the impact of, the low income families, and, bringing them into an inclusive light in the community it's so important. So I can only imagine, how important it would be for them to have access to, any kind of mental health strategy would be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our goal is huge. It's about, empowering every woman to live their best life. It's huge, we know, but we're going to work towards it the best we possibly can.
And, Business Women Australia will support you in any way we can to help you reach that goal.
I love that. Thank you.
But finally, how do people reach you?
So you can reach us through the website, which is just Pynk Health. It's Pynk with a Y, but pynkhealth.com.au, or otherwise they can certainly call our 1300 915 604 number, or me directly. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so I'm pretty easy to find. But yeah, feel free to reach out and connect, or to discuss, or any questions or queries. Happy to chat anytime.
And if they do forget, you are also on the Business Women Australia website with all of that beautiful information.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining me today. I look forward to our next chat. We'll have to book one in. And have an amazing day. And for everyone else who's listening, we hope that you're going to be joining us on all good podcasting stations like Apple and Spotify. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Leanne. Bye.
Bye.